Today, we're continuing the myth busting because one of the things that's holding new bookkeepers back is this. I don't want to charge too much because I don't have a lot of experience. And it's simply not true. In this video, I'm going to show you how to price your services, even as a beginner, with confidence so that you can actually build a business that pays you well, that you won't resent, and maybe, just maybe, it'll give you enough money that you can go and buy yourself a nice ergonomically correct chair so that your back won't hurt. Stay tuned until the end because I'm going to share a couple of different bonus tips in the different areas that we're going to be covering during this video, and I can't wait to share this information with you. If you're new here, hi, I'm Veronica Sagastumi, and this is the Bookkeeping Shop, a place where I share my tips, behind the scenes, strategies, my point of view, and a lot of hands-on training to help you to start, run, and grow a profitable bookkeeping business from home or on the go. So let's keep going with today's topic. When I first started my business, I landed one of my first clients. Actually, it was my fifth one, and I was thrilled, so excited. It was a catch-up cleanup project, and I priced it as a fixed price based on the information that they gave me and what I thought was going to be the time commitment and the overall workload. I felt really good about how I priced it, but again, it was based on the information that the client provided me with. I had what I thought was a solid contract and scope of work in place. I even added a clause just referencing to delays that may occur on the client side, that if I either incurred delays because they didn't deliver something that I needed in order to keep going, or if we were getting close to 70% of the allotted budget, the fixed price that I gave them, that I would alert them, that I would let them know so that we could then realign, reassess, or determine, make some decisions. But here's the thing, I didn't stick to it. I didn't have clear enough language to protect myself when the client started to request for more, ask for more, giving me more. We call this scope creep. It's gonna happen. But early on, you're not sure how to handle it. For example, the initial project was uploading transactions, coding them, reconciling the credit cards, reconciling the bank accounts. But then more started coming, more things. Can you look into this payroll? Can you reconcile the transactions to this report? Can you revise, redo? It was endless. Can you book these entries? Could you create a schedule to amortize or to expense? Basically, the list was endless. The original scope of work that we had agreed to and defined went out the window very, very fast. The list just kept growing. The scope creep started, it gained momentum, and the list was endless. Before I knew it, I was working on this project day and night, so many more hours than I had originally projected. But honestly, it felt like I was playing whack-a-mole. Every time I finished a task or started to gain momentum and made progress on an area, something else came up, something else popped up. Next thing I knew, I was also becoming their emotional therapist. And because I didn't want to rock the boat and seem difficult, I didn't stop to renegotiate. I just kept going, working way more hours than I had budgeted, but delivering great work, but at a loss. It was an expensive mistake, but a really valuable lesson. And it only took that one client for me to put some better things in place to protect myself and the client and set some boundaries. So the takeaway here, clearly define what's included and what is not. That goes in your scope of work, which the scope of work goes with the contract. And I will create a video just specifically about that in the future. But for now, just know that you have to clearly define what it is that you and your client are agreeing to, what is the service that you're going to be providing, when are you going to deliver it, how you're going to be delivering it, and the things you are agreeing that the client will provide you with that you will then deliver upon. Build in language to handle additional requests. Basically, those additional requests is what we often refer to as scope creep, especially if your client starts to feel like you are capable, resourceful, and they love working with you. They're going to start to give you more and more responsibility. But if you have a fixed price, you have to be really good about setting that boundary and be like, you know what? That actually is falling outside of the original defined or agreed upon scope of service. I'm happy to revise it with you. Let's discuss what you truly need, and we can reassess the fee. I want you to get comfortable feeling uncomfortable. Negotiating a contract never feels good in the very beginning, but it's absolutely necessary. Your client will be grateful, and you will feel so much more confident knowing that you have set boundaries and you have a very clear idea of what is the service you'll provide, the goal that you're trying to meet, and the ultimate experience that you and your client will have. Trust me, you don't want to get in a position where you're going to feel like just because you agree to this service of catching up transactions, reconciling their credit cards and their bank accounts, that you are now going to also be their QuickBooks wizard and their CFO and part-time therapist. There is a limit. And for me personally, that one client taught me that valuable lesson. I learned very quickly how to draw that line. So if you're afraid of charging too much, what you feel is too much, let me just tell you that undercharging is a lot more costly. So here's the truth. New bookkeepers undercharge because in the beginning, they're still trying to prove that they're worth hiring. It's easy to feel like, well, I'm new and I don't want to charge too much because I don't want to scare the clients away. But let me reframe that. What you lack in client work, you make up for in training, in caring about the client and wanting to do a fantastic job, especially in the very beginning, because you want to get a good reputation. You want to give them a great experience. Clients are not paying you for your resume. They are paying for results. Please don't discount your value because you're early on in your business journey. And here's a practical tip if you're still hesitant, okay? All right, follow me. When setting up your first price, in your service agreement, your scope of work, estimate your time. Let's just, for example, say after you've assessed, volume and you've discussed what they need and all that, you determine, let's say you're going to be able to do it in 10 hours. So you're not going to tell them 10 hours. You're going to say it's a fixed price, but how you get to that is after you assess it, you say, okay, I think it's going to take me 10 hours. My hourly rate, especially in the beginning, you could be like, oh, $50 an hour. So that's a fixed price of $500. 10 hours times 50, $500 for the project. Let's just go with me. Let's just stay there. But include a clause in your contract that states that this fixed price, this fixed monthly price is for the first 3 months of your contract. Now, I've been talking about my example that it was a cleanup catch-up, but let's just pretend that this is for monthly bookkeeping services. You've assessed them. You want to say, okay, I think it's going to take me 10 hours at 50. Let's just give them a fixed price of $500. Put that clause in your service agreement or your scope of work saying that this monthly fixed price of $500 is good for the first 3 months. Just make it very clear that it's not $500 for the 3 months. It's $500 per month for the first 3 months of service. After that, you'll reassess the scope of work. Within 3 months, you'll know the cadence, you'll know the volume, you'll know what's being asked. You'll have enough time to catch up, to fine tune, to streamline processes. So now you're cooking. Now, I'm not saying that for you to lower your fee, it's for you to manage the expectation that you're going to reassess the overall experience. You can have a meeting with your client and check in. How's it going? How's the timeline? This is when you may say, hey, based on the original scope of service, you've added a few more things and I want to address that. If that's something that you're going to want to continue to have me perform and do for you, then I suggest that we increase the time that I'm allocating for your account, which means that I'm going to have to increase the fee to whatever it is. How does that sound? I know that it sounds so overwhelming. However, take it one step at a time. I'm giving you these tips to let you know that you're not stuck at that price forever. Having this language in your scope of work, your consulting agreement, allows you to have a boundary that you can then assess or revisit if it's needed. This gives you experience and it gives you confidence without locking you into a forever rate. Smart, right? It works. Okay, are we ready for the next phase? Next, we want to talk about what to consider when pricing your first offer. Let's make this simple. You don't need a complicated formula or to be guessing what other bookkeepers are charging. Instead, I want you to ask yourself, how much time will this realistically take? What value am I delivering to the client? What will this take for me to do it sustainably? Basically meaning, how can I get this work done or the project or, month to month without burning myself out? Better yet, how can I get all this work done without me feeling resentful? One of the best ways for you to assess what the client needs and what it will realistically take for you to deliver this service, to perform and deliver the goal, the service, the outcome, is to gather the information from the client through an intake questionnaire. This intake questionnaire is what you use to gather a lot of the information that you need from the client in order for you to prepare a proposal. The client intake questionnaire is something that you would send out to a prospect before they even become a client, because you need that information in order for you to prepare a proposal. In this intake questionnaire, you ask questions like the general business things. When was the business established? What is your business? So that you can gather, is it a service? Is it a product? Is it a hybrid of both? What is it? And then you start to get into the tactical, technical things like how many bank accounts do you have? How many credit cards? How many customers? How many invoices? You want to get a sense for the volume that this particular client who needs your help will require. And you want to ask questions like, when was the last time that your bank account was reconciled? When was the last year that your tax return was filed? Things like that. It's basically gathering information to assess where are they at? What do they need? What will it take for you to get them up to speed, and then for it to become a recurring service. It is different if you're doing an intake questionnaire for a project versus an ongoing bookkeeping client. Bottom line, you want to assess just how messy the books are or how up to date and clean they are. But most of the time they're going to be messy and they're going to be backed up and they're going to need your help to catch up and clean up. You want to get a clear picture of what you're walking into, what you're agreeing to, what you're pricing. You don't want to quote a $500 fixed price for what turns out to be some sort of forensic accounting project from 2019 to present day. We are trying to avoid those kinds of costly mistakes, okay? The more you know upfront, the better you can estimate what it is that is going to require of you, whether it's time and workload, and then price accordingly. So are you starting to see how you can use that intake questionnaire, assess the activity, the end result, the goal, and then put a proposal together, a consulting agreement with a scope of work, and come up with a pricing with some language in there that doesn't keep you at that price forever and ever? Are you starting to get the picture? And if you do it just one step at a time, it's not going to seem so overwhelming. And this strategy to price keeps you from undercharging, keeps you from becoming resentful and sitting there wondering, what have I done? We want to avoid that. And by the way, I actually have an intake client questionnaire that is included in my Kickstart Your Bookkeeping Business bundle. I will leave the link in the description of this video, along with a promo code that you can use if you want to grab it. My intake questionnaire, I give you a sample, the starting point. I give you an explainer video, as well as the language to use when you're delivering that intake questionnaire to give your prospect client some guidelines as to what do they need to do, what this is about, why it's helpful. And so you can start from scratch, you can do your own. But if you want to jumpstart that intake questionnaire, I have that for you. I call this product the client filter. And I developed it to help me and now to help you pre-screen your prospects before they become clients. It comes with pre-filled questionnaire, it gives you scripts, it gives you an explainer video, and the ultimate goal of having this intake questionnaire is it helps you to pre-screen clients to avoid a mismatch and avoid burnout. It ensures that you are in alignment, that there's clarity, and it ensures that we are a good fit. The link to grab that intake questionnaire is in the description, and it is part of my overall bundle, Kickstart Your Bookkeeping Business bundle. All right, I have a bonus tip for you here. When you're quoting the hours, depending on how big or small the hours are to perform the job, like for example, if you're going to quote a job and it's going to be 25 hours, I would ask you to build in some buffer hours for yourself, because it's inevitable that something will happen. Something will require research. Maybe you'll have a system issue. Maybe you'll need to follow up and reach out to the client to, chase them down to get information. That happens all the time. And in order for you not to feel like those sort of things are taking up your very precious, valuable budgeted time, it's good to have a buffer. 20%, 30%. For example, if I was going to quote a job for 25 hours, I would probably build in an extra 3 to 4 hours in that quote. Maybe I would roll it up to 30 just to give me a little bit of a buffer for dealing with those unexpected hiccups that will inevitably happen. Some of those hiccups could be a delay in maybe the client didn't give you all of the bank statements that you needed, or there's a lot of missing receipts that you need to track down. The books don't quite look right. They look off, a little bit off, but you're not quite sure why. It's going to require a little bit of research. You need a little bit of time to step back, review, take a look, see what's going on, poke around, and that's going to eat up some of your time. And if you add that buffer into your quoted hours, like for example, if you're going to quote 10 hours, then add an hour and a half or 2 hours of buffer time, okay? It's inevitable, it happens. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this video, I'm pretty sure you'll love my newsletter, The Bookkeeping Insider. It's where I share exclusive tips, stories, behind the scenes, strategies that I don't share anywhere else. The link to subscribe to my newsletter is in the description of this video, so go ahead and join us. Let's move on to the third section that I want to talk about, which is what you're truly providing, the value that you bring to the table. You're not just organizing numbers. It is not just data entry, as you've heard me state before. You are helping the business owner to stay compliant, avoid tax penalties, understand their finances, giving them peace of mind that their books are up to date and that they can then rely on the financial information that is provided to them so that they can make strong business decisions. Does that sound like data entry to you? No. Those things I just listed, that is not cheap work. That is essential work. Your clients, our clients, they're not paying us for hours. They are paying us for peace of mind. They are paying us for efficiency, resourcefulness. They are paying us for accuracy. So instead of saying, I'm just starting out, please work on eliminating that word just out of your vocabulary, because we are not just starting out. We are not just doing basic work, okay? Get rid of that. So going back to what I was just saying, instead of saying, I'm just starting out, develop a mantra for yourself that tell yourself until you believe it. I am building a business that delivers real value. I'm delivering real value. I deliver value. I have a mindset tip for you. Practice saying your pricing out loud over and over and over again. Seriously, stand in front of the mirror. Say it in your car as you're driving to and from somewhere. Record yourself. No one needs to see it. You can delete the video right after. Do a recording on your phone. Get used to hearing it, saying it as you mean it until you actually believe it. Talk to your dog, talk to your cat, tell your houseplants what your fees are. Make up some sort of scenario and go ahead and deliver your pitch, your fee, your, whatever it is that you want to say. Just practice it so that you're not stuttering, so that you're not getting caught up, so that you don't sound like you're asking a question, okay? You want to sound confident. And the only way to do that is to practice it over and over again until it feels natural. The more you own it, the more confident that you will sound. And as you're telling your dog or your plants or your kitty cat, make sure that they don't interrupt you. Still feeling a little nervous, a little unsure? Here's what I have to tell you. It's the same thing that I tell my other clients, my other students. If your client wanted cheap, they would hire their cousin who just recently took a QuickBooks online class and thinks that they are now a CFO. You think I'm kidding? We've had many clients over the years where we have to take over because their mother-in-law, their sister's boyfriend, somebody came along and said, oh, that's super simple. I can do that for you. I can help you out. And then they need help later with a professional to help them clean their books up. Remember, my friend, you bring strategy, reliability, and a calming presence in a stressful part of their business. I think that's worth paying for, don't you? And hey, when you confidently state your price for your service and the client says, okay, or let's do this, or when do we start? A little part of your brain will want to do a cartwheel, jump for joy and do that cartwheel. Please don't. You'll end up pulling something, like I recently did. I'm actually nursing a hamstring injury, so no cartwheels, okay? So let's wrap things up. Underselling yourself, it's common, especially in the beginning, but it's costly. In this video, I showed you how to get around that to protect yourself and to give you some leverage to be able to still set a fixed price, but navigate it so that you can get out of that if you need to and charge more. The pricing that you come up with should reflect both your experience, yes, but more importantly, your time and your value. And you deserve to build a business that pays you well, that you don't resent because you're feeling like you need to underprice your services. Don't do it. It's your business. And if a client comes along and is balking about your prices, then that is not the right client for you. And I want you to take a deep breath, believe in your service, believe in your value, stay strong. And that confidence, well, it comes with practice. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. I definitely enjoyed talking about it. If you want more help as to how to frame a discovery call with a prospect client, that would come before the intake questionnaire. You'll want to watch this next video that's coming up on your screen, where I talk about how to prepare for your discovery call with a prospect client and what to say during the call. Until next time, I'm Veronica. Bye for now.